What is your "we never speak of this again" story? Story 1. I was on a road trip with a buddy. We were heading to a 3-day music fest in Tennessee. We drove through the night and were making good time. He was driving and asked me to take the wheel for a second. I did. He grabbed the Gatorade bottle, unzipped, and started pissing in the bottle. I was a bit uncomfortable with my hand 6 inches above his exposed private part, but we were going 75 miles per hour and his foot was on the gas. We had more pressing concerns, is my point. He finishes up and in one swift motion rolls the window down and lifts the Gatorade bottle toward the window to dump it. Wait, what do you do? Imagine a full bottle of warm pee filling up the entire interior of a car like a fine aerosol spray in a split second. That's what 75 miles per hour wind blowing inward does to a bottle of liquid trying to go outward. I learned that the hard way. Of course, it got in my mouth. But that wasn't the worst of it. It was clogging my ears like I had been swimming. It was stinging my eyes. It went so far up my nose that I sneezed it out twice. We looked at each other, dripping pee. All I could say was, "Damn it. God damn it, dude." He turned on the AC after a time. Piss droplets blew out on us. It was dripping on us from the ceiling of the car. We rode for a long time in silence. Do you know what a person and the interior of a car covered in piss smell like after being in 103-degree heat for 3 days and no means to wash up? I do. Story 2. So I'm in high school and got trashed at a party. Somehow, I made it home. In the middle of the night, I drunkenly wander into my parents' bedroom, sit on my dad's hamper, and take a good, long pee. My dad woke up in the middle of the night and pushed me back into my room. I wake up in the morning and go to the living room and see Dad. He starts cracking up and told me what happened. Said we won't tell anyone and to go upstairs and clean out his hamper. Ended up having to buy him a new hamper. My mom never said anything about it, so I have no idea if she knew. My dad passed away about 10 years ago. Since that time, my mom told me a story about my dad getting drunk one night, shortly after they were married, and she woke up in the middle of the night to see him peeing in his hamper. Apparently, I am totally my father's daughter, and have still never told anyone about it. Story 3. Just a forewarning, this one's pretty graphic. Years ago, my girlfriend and I snuck into a bathroom to do it after everyone passed out at a house party. We were young, she was fun, and she wanted it in her butt. You got it, champ. I was sitting on the closed toilet, and she was basically doing the stand-up reverse cowgirl thing. It felt great. At some point, one of our drunk friends woke up to pee and came in bursting into the bathroom. She jumps up in shock, causing an extremely fast and unexpected pullout. Poop. Everywhere. The next morning, the same drunk friend comes stumbling out of the bathroom after having passed out from his drunken midnight pee. Guys, I got really drunk last night, and I think I might have taken a crap on the floor in the bathroom. Damn right you did. Apology accepted. Go clean that up. Story 4. I walked in on a close family member masturbating in the living room. They saw that I saw. Immediately left to deal with something else. Came back and asked how their day had been. They said, "Good, thanks." Story 5. Not so much we never spoke of it again, but I've never spoken of it. In college, I skipped the day to play some Call of Duty. Got bored and decided to take matters into my own hands. My dorm room was on the top floor, so the 4th floor, and the window blinds were open. As I was furiously taking out my frustrations, a window washer came up to the window on a suspended scaffold. We locked eyes for a second, and he left my window unwashed and slowly went back down. Story 6. Oh God. When I was 9, I had a friend, Donna. Donna was a little more mature than I was. She brought up... The only thing I knew about was that it was bad because of an abstinence-only billboard that was up by my grandma's house. Guess what part of America I live in? I told her that it was bad, and she said, "It's how you make babies, stupid." So naturally, she proposes that we do it. We were in our underwear and t-shirts. She leaned in to kiss me, and I pulled away. Nothing of any sexual nature happened, but she said, "That was it. We did it." So I feared for weeks I was pregnant, and woke up in the middle of the night sobbing to my mom that I was pregnant and I had with Donna. She explained that's not how any of it worked. My mom and I have never mentioned it again in the past 11 years since. Story 7. Growing up, we were poor, and as a teen, I didn't really have access to or whatnot, but I was quite a writer. So I would write exotic fiction as a release in a spiral. Well, one day, after writing a particularly sordid story, I kinda came to and realized I shouldn't leave that stuff around. I went to the kitchen, intending to throw the spiral away, set it down, got a drink, the phone rang, I answered, and left the spiral in the kitchen. Forgotten. An hour later, my mother comes to me with the spiral and questions. I won't get into it, but she described how a lot of my stories wouldn't really ever happen and were a bit extreme. She threw it away and it never came back up. Story 8. Here's a recent. My buddies and I actually voiced the phrase, "We can never tell the story," in the truck afterwards. Road trip with two buddies, Cal and Joel. Driving home late at night, we're in the mindset that we're tired of sitting in the truck and ready to be home, so we drove through the night to get miles behind us. Finally, about 3 a.m., we pull off the highway onto a forest road and drive until we see a spot to camp. Decent grassy clearing, looks like someone has had the same idea here before. We pile out and grab our tents and start setting up. Joel is tired and quiet. Cal has the inhuman ability of speaking in a continuous run-on sentence for hours. Doesn't matter what time. Wake him up at 4 a.m. from dead sleep, he'll start telling you a story before his feet hit the ground. He's funny too, so it keeps the road trip interesting. Setting up camp, Cal is deep in a half-story, half-rhetorical essay when he stops. Cold. I look over his way, shining my headlamp on him. His headlamp trails off into the trees. Are those eyes? I look where he's looking and stare for a good while. Might just be dew on the leaves. Or a marker on the trees. Wouldn't be surprised if this road is used for motorcycle races. We stare a while longer. Neither of us can relax. Finally, I grab a shovel and start walking toward the little glowing beads. Neither of us were going to sleep without resolution. F guys, go to bed, Joel announces with confidence. There's no predators in this area. There are. I've seen both bears and cougars in the area. Joel isn't from the area. Cal and I continue on. I cover about half the ground between me and the orbs, and I pause. It's so dark, and they're so far away, I can't quite make out if they're moving slightly or if it's just the shadow cast from my headlamp. I throw a rock. I yell. Pause. Then they blink. Okay. Yep, it's an animal, and it's not scaring with rocks, I say toward Cal, slowly walking backward. It clearly sees us. It's watching me. Cal agrees. Let's just watch it for a while. We finish setting up our tents, keeping a light on the creature at all times. Finally, it starts to move. The two little orbs raise a few inches off the ground and start strafing us, rocking ever so slightly, back and forth, as they start a wide circle, skirting our campsite. A slight pause here and there, but they continue to close in even as we unleash a thunderstorm of rocks and yelling and quickly sidestep toward the truck. Joel, whatever it is, it's moving our way. Keep a light on it! Keep a light on it! Joel yells and fumbles with his tent zipper. He's already taken his pants off and comes booking toward the truck, emanating his own light from his pasty white thighs. He gets inside and sits in the back. Cal and I are perched on the either side of the truck, ready to jump inside so fast, we're bound to knock heads over the gear shift. The creature is behind a bush, about 20 feet from the truck at this point. The leaves are shifting slightly, it's still coming. Cal and I share a couple words of encouragement. Waiting, and then the bushes part. When the claw sunk into Cal's neck, he screamed, and I dove over the cab. Just kidding. The bushes part, and an effing deer walks out and right up to the truck. Turns out people did camp here before, and apparently they fed the deer. Whatever survival instinct once was in this long-legged forest rodent was long gone, and we were three men in their jammies crouching in a truck hiding from it. Full disclosure, I've actually told this story a few other times.